Well, an interesting day here, my friends. Just dropped my kid off the last time. You see my Bruins, because Bruins are going to Stanley Cup Finals. Just dropped my youngest off for the last time ever at elementary school. It's crazy when you think about it. 4 kids later, and here we are in Georgia. Last time ever. We've had kids in elementary school for the last 15 years, man. We started at John Whalen in Bridgewater, Virginia for my oldest. We went to Tatum. No. We went from John Whalen in Virginia to Cibolo Creek in Texas to Tatum in New Jersey, and now here to Birmingham Falls. It's one of those, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's exciting and yet sad at the same time. I mean, that's my oldest daughter said today that she was happy for Liam, and she's jealous in some way that he got to stay at the same school for his entire elementary school career. And I do think, going back to my video yesterday on staying in the same home, same job, and same same spouse, I do think there's something to be said about stability. One of the things and I will just tell you, I don't know what it's like being a girl. I will tell you, as a young boy and a young man, stability is so critical, man. If you have sons, or if you're younger here and you're thinking about with your sons, stability is huge because boys have a different approach to things than girls do in terms of mindset and how they tackle stuff. And again, I've seen my girls go from school to school to school, and it's a challenge for sure, without question it is, because not knowing anyone sucks, man. I mean, there's no other way around that. Going to a new school sucks, and it does create a level of I don't know, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is, a challenge that otherwise need not be, if that makes sense. Especially if you're someone of a unique personality. Like I've always been, just a contrarian. Just by nature. I don't know if it's from nature or nurture. I don't know. My oldest has always kind of been a contrarian as well. It has always been harder to fit in. I mean, I always had friends. Would I call them? I don't keep in touch with anybody. I never have kept in touch with anybody. Hell, even my family. I only talk to my brother and sister a few times a year. It's just I don't know why. I've never. It's not that I'm so focused on me. It's always been something I've never been good at. And yet my wife still keeps in touch with all her friends from high school. Not her friends, so much from high school, some of them. But her friends from college. I mean, in fact, it's funny. Just this morning, she's talking about, a girls' night out because they all just turned 45. And, college was 25 years ago. Jeez. I mean, I don't have any of my friends from college. I mean, other than some small things on Facebook, a couple guys that's in the Army with this stuff. But anyway, stability, going back to stability, for a young boy growing up and having the challenges of boys, which is the chaos that is boys, the challenge of I hate to say it, but have to get your own, I hate to say dominance, I don't mean dominance, but to be able to safe, the safe space. And I don't mean safe space like, Hillary lost, not like that. Just a boy needs to be able to feel safe because he's being challenged. A boy is always being challenged, if that makes sense. Girls get challenged their own unique ways. Girls are brutal. This whole thing, like, girls need to take care of each other. Hell, girls are the biggest impediment in terms of other girls' success. I don't blame boys for a girl's lack of success. Girls are brutal towards each other. Brutal. Boys is brutal in a different way. It's more of a physical brutality. And as a young boy growing up and dealing with, just all the stuff they got to deal with, going through puberty and all that, the last thing a young boy wants to be known as is a wimp or someone who can't fend for himself. I'm just telling you right now, a boy doesn't want to be like, what's that one, Lord of the Flies? I mean, a boy does not want to be alone having to fend for himself. And when you're going from school to school to school, you're always in a new environment where you don't know kids, where you always could be bullied and you always could be on the outside looking in, which means you're vulnerable. I'm just telling you right now, it's and that's not good for your stability, because one thing I know I wish I had was stability. I'm just telling you right now, the lack of stability for a boy who's going through all this stuff, as a young boy going through the puberty and all this, and needing a safe space in which to be able to feel comfortable and not feel like he's got to fight the world. I'm telling you, man, just be careful before you start moving around. And most people don't. I got to tell you, we know, I mean, a lot of people don't recognize this, but we know for a fact the vast majority of Americans do not move around. They don't change schools. They don't move from house to house. This is absolutely, we know this. We've seen, the Census Bureau does demographic switches. And while everyone thinks everyone's moving from California to Oregon and whatnot, it's simply not true. There's a number of people that are doing it, but it's not. Oh, by the way, I was going to share with you, look at this shirt. I had this shirt from 1990, Joint Task Force Bravo, Sotocano Air Base, Honduras, from 1990, and it still fits. That's nuts. I had it sitting in my drawer, and I call it my jammy shirt because it's soft cotton, which I like to wear when I go to bed. Shorts and soft cotton t-shirt, and I pulled this out. I haven't seen it for a couple years. I doubt it'll fit, and it fits just fine, which is good. I mean, obviously, I'm a little bit bigger in the belly than I was when I was in 1990 in Honduras, but you can see, got the Honduran flag right there, got the U.S. flag, and on the back, you can see is the Abe Lincoln, is the Lincoln's Day 5K, Fun K, or whatever they call it. Oh, man, I hate 5Ks. But anyway, so just remember that, my friends. This is with young boys, they need stability. They need stability. And I just tell you, that does not mean don't find a better job if there's one out there. I'm not saying that. Hell, man, I'm glad I did. But boys need stability, and that means if you can provide them that. But why do you think boys get hooked on this electronics in terms of Mortal Kombat stuff? I was listening to that guy Bill Burr, and he was saying he was doing some kind of video game for like hours on end, and then Joe Rogan saying the same thing. Like, he would do it for like hours on end, like 10 hours a day, because that's a safe space for boys. Now, it's the same thing as like video games where they're challenging you, all the bells and whistles and stuff. I mean, everybody knows that's a dopamine release. It brings dopamine to your brain, all the bells and whistles, and you're always trying to capture more and more and more. I mean, it's no different than addiction to heroin. But for a boy, that's why they're addicted to that stuff, man, because it's a safe space where they can be relaxed, be who they are, be free from the shenanigans going on in their outside world. I'm telling you right now, there's a lot to that. And look, man, am I sitting here challenging or judging people? Nope, man, I'm telling you. I was growing up before we had that kind of stuff, and I know it. I used to have my own fantasy football league. It's actually interesting. I used to have literally a football league. I named up all the players, had all the stats. It was fun, man. I used to have this binder, page after page after page. I had a football team called St. Louis Sharks, for instance. The Chicago Showboats, all these guys. It's like a fantasy league for me. It was fun. I loved it, and I'd even write like the sports scores, the box score. Then I even have a sports page, like who won. The St. Louis Sharks beat the Chicago Showboats or something like that. It was man, it was fun. It was just a good way to be. It was my safe space to do my football league, and some people say that's weird. Well, I mean, that's fine. I don't care. I'm a weird guy, I suppose. But boys need that stuff. That's why they do electronics. We call it electronics. You might call it video games or whatever. Screen time. That's why they do just all kinds of different things. It's just a way to get away from the day and the challenges of the day of having to huff and puff out to protect yourself, essentially. So, anyway, it's one of those. It's a good day. I like seeing my kids grow up. I'm very much looking forward to the day where. I don't want to say I'm looking forward to when my kids are out of the house, but I'm looking forward to seeing how my kids evolve. My oldest now is at Georgia Tech, and I remember just like yesterday when she tried cheerleading for the first time in second grade, and she didn't like it. I think she did it because she kind of thought the cool kids were doing it, which is kind of sad, but she didn't like it because it wasn't the cool kids. It was, I guess there's cool kids, but it's more like kids are me, if that makes sense. And I'm not saying all cheerleaders like that. I'm just saying her experience was the kids were very self-absorbed, let's put it that way. And that's not something she ascribed to. And it's just funny seeing all my children, man, going through it. 15 years of elementary school. Crazy. All the different, it's nuts. And this is the last time ever on a Friday. I'll be dropping my kid off to elementary school. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a great feeling, but it just tells you time flies. Enjoy it while you can, but don't sit there and say, I wish I had it back, because you'll never get it back. And things change. Things can change for the better, or they can change for the worse, but things will change. We do know that as one fact. Things will change. All right, we'll see you.